Hello and welcome. In this video, we are going to give you an impartial review when we are covering 5 best xBox steering wheel reviews in the market, which are the best for you considering some unavoidable factors that you might miss out without watching this video. Here, we are trying to help you out to find the best from a plenty of irrelevant products. If you want more information and updated pricing of the products mentioned in the video, be sure to check the links in the description below. So, let's get started. Number 1. Our overall best pick is Logitech G920 Driving Force. We are starting the list by adding the Logitech G920 Driving Force. For those who don't know, this racing steering wheel is specifically designed for the xBox. However, if you are interested, Logitech released the Driving Force G29 that has full support for PC, PS3, and PS4. With that out of the way, before we begin, you should keep in mind that the G920 is an elite class steering wheel that one can use. It has the class and the power to prove it. The wheel itself is quite classy, yet maintains a certain flash to itself. The buttons are perfectly placed, and one of the best thing about this is that it can easily fit in almost all places. However, players who have actual cockpits for playing this amazing racing game would be glad to know that it works rather well. At such a point, the only one concern we have with the steering wheel itself is the price itself. The steering wheel costs about $350 if you buy it without a shifter, and if you purchase the shifter, the price goes to above $400. This one is PC plus Xbox One compatible. But considering how Logitech has provided us with a near-perfect product, the price is understandable. Number 2. Our second best pick is Thrustmaster VG Ferrari. The next up on the list is Thrustmaster VG Ferrari steering wheel that is designed specifically for Xbox One. Before we begin, we would like to point out that this steering wheel is so far the cheapest offering we have on the list, as it retails for just $90. Yes, that's right. So how does it fare against the beasts like Logitech G920 and G29? In all honesty, the comparison would be a bit unfair. Let's find out what the VG Ferrari has in store for us. Straight out of the box, the steering wheel gives you the top-of-the-line impression of a Ferrari. Keep in mind that the design language of Ferrari can be found all over the place. We had our doubts about the build quality because of the price it comes with, but believe it or not, the steering wheel surpassed all the expectations we had. It offers a solid construction and works in every racing game or games that contain driving. Be sure to check out our recommendations on Ethernet switches. The few issues that we have had with the VG Ferrari are mostly the lack of extra options found in the other racing wheels, and even though the construction feels really solid, it has a cheap, plastic feel to it. But then again, do keep in mind that you are paying $90 for it, and it is as good as things get. I also recommend you to have a look at GT Planet Forum, what they have to say about this xBox steering wheel. Xbox One compatible. This version is compatible with Xbox 360. Number 3. Our third best pick is Thrustmaster TX Racing Wheel Ferrari 458, Italia Edition. The next up on the list is the aptly named TX Racing Wheel Ferrari 458 Italia Edition by Thrustmaster. For those who don't know, this steering wheel comes in 2 editions, the Ferrari 458 Italia Edition, as well as the Leather Edition. We will be reviewing the Leather Edition later in this post, but for now, let's stick to the Italia Edition and see what Thrustmaster TX Racing Wheel Ferrari 458 Italia Edition has in stores for us. As you would expect, the racing wheel comes with the iconic Ferrari branding in the middle. When it comes to looks, the steering wheel is quite minimalistic and doesn't have any over-the-top elements, and without any surprises, it supports both Xbox One and PC. The construction of the steering wheel is pretty solid and it won't be failing on you. However, having used both the Leather Edition and the Italia Edition, it is safe to say that the Leather Edition has a lot more premium feel to it. However, you should keep in mind that where this one retails for about $300 give or take, the price for the Leather Edition is about a hefty $470, and that's a $170 premium for some feel-good materials. The performance on the Thrustmaster TX Racing Wheel Ferrari 458 Italia Edition is no joke. The steering wheel performed absolutely well in almost all the games we tested it on, but for the readers, the games that we tested were Grand Theft Auto 5, Grid, Forza Motorsport, and a couple of others. You'd be glad to know that all of the games worked perfectly fine without any major problems. Also, if you are anxious to know how good or bad the force feedback and vibration on this steering wheel was, then you should be happy to know that both the elements were really good. They felt strong, responsive, and smooth. Number 4. Our fourth best pick is Hori Racing Wheel 1. The next up on the list is Hori Racing Wheel 1, perhaps the best steering wheel for budget-oriented people, and you know what else is amazing about this one? It is actually officially certified by Microsoft to be used with the Xbox One. Now you can go show off your certified hardware to your friends. But is it actually worth the somewhat budget-oriented $80 price tag? Let's go ahead and find out. The Hori Racing Wheel 1 comes with an all-plastic construction, something that might be a letdown to some of the buyers. However, considering how it costs less than half of the likes of VGTX by Thrustmaster and G920 by Logitech, it's fairly justified. Considering how the manufacturers wanted absolutely no bling in the Hori Racing Wheel, they ended up cutting down some of the features that make racing wheels so popular among the fans of racing games. For instance, this racing wheel doesn't have any support for force feedback or vibration. This might be a deal breaker for people who plan on using this steering wheel with games like Forza Motorsport, as it seems that it is better suited to people who'd be playing arcade racing games where the force feedback isn't that necessary. Despite being a solid offer for $80, there are some things about the Hori Racing Wheel 1 that you wouldn't like. The exclusion of force feedback is a big no for a lot of gamers, and the only mounting system that is being offered by the steering wheel uses suction cups in order to have the unit stick on a surface. If you can overcome these shortcomings, then you would be pleased to know that Hori Racing Wheel is a great budget-oriented steering wheel. Number 5. Last but not the least, our fifth best pick is Thrustmaster VG TX Racing Wheel, Leather Edition. The last one on the list is Thrustmaster VG TX Racing Wheel Leather Edition. You might be wondering why we are reviewing something that has been reviewed earlier, but you should know that the one previously reviewed was the Simple Edition and this one happens to be the Leather Edition. If you are willing to go for something that is the premium in looks and equally amazing in performance, then the Thrustmaster VG TX is something that you should get. Basically, the steering wheel comes in two different variants, the one that has leather and the one without leather. Before we begin, we would like to point out that the VG TX is made as a direct competitor to the Logitech G920, however, unlike the competition, has support for PC as well as Xbox One. With that out of the way, let's talk about how good Thrustmaster made this steering wheel. Straight out of the box, you will be welcomed with premium quality leather that graces the wheel, and considering how the leather is one of the finest, the price gets justified. The steering wheel itself has all the necessary functions you need in order to play a racing game without any issues. One thing a lot of people complain about in a steering wheel is the lack in the amount of force feedback it offers. Lucky for you, you will be welcomed by a force feedback that is strong and responsive as hell. So, grab this while you can. Be sure to check the links in the description below. That's all for this review. Feel free to share your feedback.
Like, comment and share our video. Do subscribe and hit the bell icon to get more videos like this in future. Thanks for watching.